Hello and welcome to Sobricks. I'm Adam and this is Sobricks. This is my channel for reviewing LEGO sets and building them and other LEGO related stuff. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at the LEGO Architecture Tokyo Japan Skyline set. This is set number 21051. It has 547 pieces and I paid $60 for this. This is a retired set. I believe it was available between 2020 and 2022. It's one of the several architecture skyline sets that I haven't built. I have built a lot of them as well, and I think they're sort of phasing these out or moving away from these type of things. A lot of the ones that I've built I've enjoyed, and I've sometimes have compared them to some of those creator postcard sets because I think they kind of have a natural way that they can go together. And this isn't one that I was particularly looking for. I just knew that I didn't have it and hadn't built it yet. And I also had realized that when I was looking at like all the different themes that I cover on here, like what themes has it been the longest since I've covered a set from this, and it's probably architecture, because I think LEGO is kind of committed to only doing one architecture set a year or something like that. I did build the Great Pyramid. I did not make a video for it yet. I still may, but I saw this on the shelf and I was pretty surprised when I checked the aftermarket price. It seemed like it hasn't appreciated too much in value, but architecture sets can. I know when I saw the Las Vegas Skyline, even just like built, pre-owned, not sealed, goes for, you know, a good amount of money. And there are other ones that go for a lot too. I did have a feeling of maybe, you know, keeping this sealed and seeing where the price goes, but I decided I wanted to build it, and so I picked it up. And now in this video I'm going to open this up, I'm going to put this together, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it. So while I build, I will speed the video up and then I'll slow it back down to review this set. So until then, enjoy. Okay, so while we look at the build for this LEGO Architecture Tokyo Skyline set, I just wanted to say thanks for watching, and then remind you, if you like the video, click the thumbs up. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button. That helps me a lot. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I appreciate all the help to get there. And then I wanted to talk about the build a little bit. So we start out here building the base. I'm always a little bit surprised at how long these architecture sets are, and they come in a relatively small box, but once you put all these plates end to end, it does become quite substantial. We work out tiling out the base with this light bluish gray, a little bit of dark bluish gray, a little bit of translucent tiles in there, some printed tiles for maybe crosswalks or streets. And I really find that kind of meditative and enjoyable to do that. I did make one mistake where I put a tile where a plate should go, and I needed that tile later. And then we can start working on the Tokyo Tower here, this beautiful red and white building. I did make an error as well when I was putting those clips in. I couldn't tell from the instructions I was looking at, you know, if they were supposed to go the stud into the hole or like offset the in the anti-stud kind of thing, but I figured it out. Then we have some nice upside down building here. Then we do a lot of this building around a bar element with the studs on the side bricks and some great pieces. Then we kind of work on the antenna here, and that's another thing that I made a mistake on, but I think I fixed it quickly enough. We then move on to this other building here, this little temple. I don't know if that one's named. And then we add a little cherry blossom onto the next bag of pieces and the last bag of pieces. So this is really going to fill out the rest of this skyline set and the rest of this street area. We start working in kind of this park area with a little bit of like a temple looking thing and the trees. Then we move on to this, what I would call is, I don't know what district it is, but this place that has a lot of like vibrant lights and lit up buildings and billboards and all sorts of stuff that reminds me of like Times Square or something like that, but in Japan. And this was difficult for me because I'm colorblind, but I addressed that later in the review. Then we move on to this, another upside down building technique for the big site, I think it's called. And this is really neat. I loved how he put those pyramid pieces on and then flipped flipped that whole plate upside down. And now we start working on the Cocoon tower, which you can see the core of this thing here with the kind of three-pronged axle pieces in the center, as well as how the like pillars on the outside kind of work to fill in gaps and fill that in. I liked how that came together a lot. Now we build Mount Fuji, and then the last thing to build is the Tokyo Sky Tree, which came together really, really fast. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and now on to my review for this set. Okay, so that is this Lego architecture Tokyo Skyline. This is really fun. It's been a while since I've built a Skyline. I think I've done like New York, Paris, London, maybe... I can't remember what the other one was. I've looked at a few of these, and I have them. I really like these sets. If you saw my recent video for the gift with purchase for the micro rocket kind of space thing, I like working on the small scale. It's somewhat tedious, but it's really fulfilling for me and really kind of fun. And I think they just look really, really great. So I do like working at like super small scales like this, which the architecture range, the architecture theme has a lot of, which I do appreciate. I still haven't built the like Himeji Castle yet, but I plan on doing that at some point. Whether or not it will be featured on the channel, I haven't figured out yet. And then I think that the Notre Dame set looks incredible, or sounds incredible for this year. And you know, like the Harry Potter Hogwarts Castle and Grounds set that was like $170, that was kind of a similar to an architecture type build. I really, really liked that one a lot too. So I'm a big fan of these, but it has been a while since I built one, so this was a nice kind of throwback. And we will just get right into it. So it's an architecture set. There are no minifigures here. It's a little bit hard for me to show this because as it's kind of supposed to be displayed with the top-down camera, it doesn't make a ton of sense, but we do get a decent lay of the land, and then I'll just have to be a little creative with how I handle everything here so we can get a good kind of look at everything. But no minifigures, only, I mean, it wasn't only 2 bags of pieces, it was 4 bags of pieces, but you know, it was 2 bag, like a bigger bag with 2 internal smaller bags, and then another bag that were all numbered 1, and then, you know, the same for numbered 2. And it actually, you know, took a little while longer to build than I thought given the piece count, but you know, working at these scale, working with little pieces can have that. Also, there's some color things in here that as a colorblind person were pretty difficult for me, so that might have taken me a little bit longer, but we can just kind of get into this. And I wanted to start by talking about the base, because that's the first thing you build here. So we can see all the plate work that is done on the bottom, the underside. You start building over on this end. It's kind of flipped around and weird right now, but you can see we use some different size 2x plates, a couple 1x's. We do have spaces for some Technic to go through the base as well. It's pretty wide. I think it's wider than it looks like on the box, and I think that's true of a lot of these Skylines. I've been consistently surprised by like the box and the box shape, and then I put everything together, but they're usually so narrow that it's not too big of an issue. But that's kind of a look. You do build a good amount of the base first, and then whoopsies, I lost a little bit of it, and then you start tiling out kind of that base layer of plates. At the front, we also have tiles going around here for the border. This Tokyo tile is printed, so that's very nice. There's no stickers in this set, which I love to see. And so we have that there. And then we tile out all the kind of like cement, all this light bluish gray everywhere. There are places where we have kind of different stuff to accommodate some of the things that go on top of it. So you work those in. I like doing those, like tiling that stuff out. It feels very relaxing to me to just look at the picture and like match it all up, instead of, I guess, how it compares to normal Lego building. I'm not 100% sure, but it reminds me of some of like the botanical sets and like those creator postcards and stuff. Anything where you have kind of, and actually the Star Wars diorama sets too sometimes have that. Like the Dagobah one has a lot of like tiling and studding, just single 1x1s down. This one doesn't have a ton of 1x1s, a lot of 1x2s, but you do that kind of layer of the light bluish gray there. And then the first kind of landmark or first thing you build is this one over here, which has a vague resemblance to the Eiffel Tower. So that is the Tokyo Tower. It's the red and white one on the left here. And I really liked how this was done. I think the shaping is really great. So it uses some of these like clip pieces to kind of get some nice angle. We have round plates in there to kind of round out the base, and then there's some of the studs on the side pieces where we attach these like fender pieces to, and I think that works really, really well. I can't remember if the Eiffel Tower on the Paris one did a similar strategy at the bottom. I'd have to double check, but it's a really nice effect here, so I like to see that. Those are all then clipped on like a 1x1, which was on a jumper, and behind that we just have a 1x2 white tile everywhere, so you can kind of see how it connects to the base. And after you build the base, then you kind of start tapering up. So you build this section right here, and if you can see, the anti-studs are on top here, and actually we tiled out the underside of this Tokyo Tower, and that's really neat. So all of this stuff is essentially on here upside down, including these slopes, as well as the vented piece, the modified like tile right there with the grooves in it, and that's all the way around. This is built around a core of pieces that I'll pull this out so we can see. It's not like Technic in the middle. We have like bar elements running all the way through this, as well as the hollow stud, studs on all the sides except for 5 sides, the top and the 4 sides, and then the bottom has the anti-stud. And then we use some just hollow stud pieces and some bar elements all the way up, and this feels actually not too flimsy. It feels pretty good, I would say, which sometimes I find that when I'm building stuff like this, whether it's in botanicals or architecture stuff, that it can be a little bit finicky and also feels like the lightest little like flick or bump might topple it over, and I don't feel like that for this one. So really cool. I always love seeing like upside down building and unique building techniques. This was really satisfying to do, how these tiles like fit in right there, and I just love how that looks, even though you never really see that. And then that kind of sits in there at that angle, so that's good. Then we do a similar technique on the rest of the tower there with a studs on the side, bricks, and the vented pieces, so the white, the red, and the white. And then down here you have the modified plate with the kind of rail coming off of it, and that's used to give that one a little more girth there, to kind of help out the tapering effect of this. At the top we have a dish, and then a round kind of 2x2 jumper with just one stud in the middle, and then another dish. That's a really nice effect up there, and a little bit of an antenna going up. So I was really impressed by this. It was actually super simple to put together and fit on the the base really, really nice. So I liked this more than I thought I was going to. I thought I was going to dislike it, and now that I'm thinking about it, these also remind me of, besides the things I've already referenced, like some of the mini Disney castles and the Haunted Mansion and the Aladdin castle and the Little Mermaid one, and all of those, the just Disney Castle. This is a similar scale kind of thing, or working with similar types of pieces, and this was not as annoying to build as I thought it was going to be. So that was a great way to start off this set. And then the next thing you build is this kind of tower over here with the little like pearl gold at the top, and it's got all these little tiers, and that I don't think is labeled as far as I can tell, so I don't know what building that's supposed to be. It does remind me of some Japanese architecture for temples in different places, but I'm not sure if this has a specific name or is a reference to a specific place. If you know, please leave it in the comments below. We do add this flower here, maybe a cherry blossom or something, with all those little flower studs and kind of that like light pink there, or kind of periwinkle maybe. I'm colorblind. And that's really good. So that one's actually in the first bag of pieces. And then I believe the rest of this is all in the second bag of pieces. There's maybe a couple other things. You know, we do have the layer of dark bluish gray under here. We have some more of that over here, which is interesting. But then moving on, the next thing you build is this, which has another kind of little temple in there, and it's a little bit hard to see because of the height of some of these things, but down here between those trees we have kind of a little temple back there, and that is the it's part of the I'm not going to be able to pronounce this. It's part of a park. It's a very long name, Chidorigafuchi Park. And so there's like that building back there, which has a little bit of that similar kind of tiered temple looking architecture, similar to this, but wider and narrower there. And then we have a little bit of water with some translucent tiles and a couple more trees there, which is nice. As we keep moving over to the right, I believe you build this section before you build the other towers, but if I'm going out of order, that's okay. And this is Shibuya crossing. I believe it's kind of supposed to be some towers and kind of a metro area, maybe kind of like a Times Square, Piccadilly Circus type area, but you know, in Japan. And this is where I had some trouble, but also a lot of fun. So these are kind of different buildings with different angles there. On the street, we can see some crosswalks. Those are all printed. Everything in here is printed. So these kind of rainbow tiles right here, and there's a few of them. It looks like that. And there's one over here on the bottom, one back there, so that's really nice. We do have some cheese slopes here. These are all built on the one by one, but they're, you know, a brick and 2 bricks tall, I guess. So you can fit 2 things on each one. I don't know what to call those pieces there. A pretty common piece to use. And so we have this nice kind of light effect coming up here on the side there. So I really like the use of those cheese slopes, different colored translucent pieces all the way to the inside here. So that's, am I going to be able to show that? There we go. Can kind of see it a little better. And then next to that, we have another building here, which is just, it's pretty simple. That is not a sticker, that is printed, so good to see that. The one next to it has, like, I don't know, a map or something. It has just a clear tile on the bottom, and then the kind of rainbow tile up here. And then over on the right, we actually have one that's kind of the same as the one over here, with the same tile, same color. And then in front of that, we have this really fun kind of rainbow pattern. Now this I needed some help with because sometimes these like translucent colored studs, I can't tell the difference between green and orange and yellow and red and blues and purples and pinks. So I think I got the gradient here right, or kind of the transition, the Roy G. Biv of it all. If you notice anything wrong, please let me know. We have a printed little tile on top there. Then we have this little bit, which also has this printed translucent tile with that triangle on it. So really good to see all of that. That was fun to build, and I think it looks awesome. It just looks really, really cool. And so it's also like interesting to think of the scale of this, because it makes these other buildings look so massive, and I'm sure this area is really, really big as well. So that it's kind of a neat comparison to see how tiny this looks in comparison to some of the other things in the Tokyo skyline. The next thing over on the right I thought was really cool, and that is just called the Tokyo Big Sight. I'm not sure if it's like a museum or what it is specifically, but you can see we start off here with, again, there's some upside down building and a really nice use of these like pyramid pieces in here, which are, we put them on just bricks in there, and then we put them on that tile and we flip them over, and then we add a couple inverted plates on the top. So they look almost like pillars there. And I really like how the kind of pyramid pieces come together. This is what that would look like, and it just fits in so nicely with those other ones. It looks really, really cool. I believe the pillars and maybe the kind of little clear pyramid at the front right here are different exhibits, different art installations or something there. That's what leads me to believe it is a museum, but I'm not positive. It's actually really simple, not too many pieces, but it's a cool effect. Like I say, I love how these like pyramid pieces, these ones go together, and I don't think I've seen them used in that way before, so that was really inspiring. And then we'll kind of finish off with the next couple towers here. And before I do that, let me say we do build, I think, Mount Fuji there in the back, which is the biggest mountain in Japan, I believe, and also an active volcano, but hasn't been active in a long, long time. That's a backdrop of a lot of Tokyo things and Japanese things. In fact, I think the Japan postcard for the Creator line also features a pretty prominent Mount Fuji here. This is built up pretty simply, just a lot of bricks, angled bricks all through there. There's this interesting little kind of gap through here where you do a like slope piece and then an inverted slope piece with like a tile up there, and you get a little bit of a gap, which is kind of a nice effect, a nice little detail. So that serves as a pretty fantastic backdrop. Compared to these buildings, the scale is maybe this is supposed to be very, very far away, and that's just how it looks in the city, or it's all kind of just made to work, hit all the major landscapes and then move on, because realistically, like, these trees would be enormous if everything was, to scale. So if these trees were to the scale with these buildings over here, this museum, these trees would be way bigger than trees probably are in Tokyo. But then we'll move over to this building. It's kind of one of the centerpieces of the set, I would say, and that is the Gakuen Cocoon Tower. And forgive me for my pronunciation, but it's the Cocoon Tower, they call it. And this is awesome. It's really, really cool. It's kind of this like bowed out triangle using these really, really nice slope pieces. Those are all printed, no stickers. So on the bottom, we just have that kind of diamond pattern going all the way across. Same over here and same on the back. And then on the top, we have the same pattern, but we do add a little bit of like an oval there where that pattern is not continuing. This was really interesting to build because the overall shape is kind of unique, and it comes together in a unique way. You kind of build one side and you add in some kind of like Technic pieces in there in the core, and then building these other kind of pillars or supports around the side it actually, I thought it was going to look really incomplete and weird and jarring having these here. You can see the little bit of a Technic pin right there. There's bar elements going all the way through these on every side. And then once it was finished, once I had the bottom on and then added the top layer there, I was really, really impressed. So I thought that was great. And building with those pieces that have the axle hole through the middle and then 3 axles coming off at varying degrees, I think is really, really smart and achieves a shape that maybe is not always easily attainable in a brick-based system, but this did really well, and it's small, it's compact. I think the production work for these pieces is really, really good. So I love to see that, and it attaches very, very easily. So I can just place it back on there. We do have a little dish on top, which is nice. And then the last kind of building, actually the tallest one, is called the Tokyo Sky Tree. And this one was a little lackluster for me. I think it's kind of evident what it is from the box, but I didn't know what to expect. Essentially, this building has the like octagonal kind of steering wheel piece or something at the bottom, just a Technic axle core, if I can try to show that black in there and a little bit of gray, and then a core of like bar pieces going up top, some like dish pieces or cone pieces that are flipped upside down. Again, some upside down building here with the bottom of a plate being on the top. Nice use of some like wheel rims in here. Inverted disc, another kind of rim piece that I see a lot on some like Technic sets and different things, but it's just a disc. It's just flat. It's not like a dome kind of piece. Upside down studs, and then the candlesticks there. And then to kind of give it its form and give it its shape, we just have 8 of these flexible kind of tubing there that get clipped around the octagon piece at the bottom, and those all get folded up and then kind of just tucked in. There's no clips or anything up in this cone like that. They all just kind of grouped together in there and are able to, there's enough in there that they're not going to like come out easily. And I think that's a nice effect. It feels like true to the images I've looked at, and probably the best way to do this. It's a pretty subtle slant, but my thing is with these flexible tubes, like they don't come out perfectly straight, and you can see how they look maybe a little bit wavy or a little bit weird. It's kind of hard to get it into a uniform form, I would say, or to make it look like it's a real building. It feels a little bit off to me, and maybe some people can do better. Maybe these are these flexible pieces are, you know, good enough that you could kind of counterbend them the other way and try to shape this perfectly. I found it a little bit of, it's not the most inspiring build to me. I mean, there are things in this that are fine, but overall it's just a line of Technic axle and then a line of like bar pieces with, you know, a few other pieces there, and then you just kind of fold all of these little flexible things up in there. And you know, that's okay, but I think I would have liked to have been able to form this a little better and make it a little more realistic and a little more accurate to the actual Tokyo Sky Tree. But that's you know, not that big of a criticism here. So I'm looking at the size. Actually looks like it's a little under 11 inches from end to end, and the Sky Tree here is about 11 inches from the bottom to the top. So it does take up a lot of space. You know, there might be a lot of empty space. I think these are mostly designed to be put on a shelf. They can be put on a somewhat narrow shelf. It doesn't take like as much space nearly as a modular building or some of the other things. And you can see we do build out from the back. It's not just, you know, 4 studs wide or even 8. It's got a little more sticking out there, but it's still relatively shallow. That could be on a shelf. So what do we have here? 8, 12 plus that. So it's really not that big and not that wide. And that's kind of everything in here, you know, no minifigures, no real functions or anything like this. It's kind of an adult oriented, display oriented, architecture build in a nice scale here. I think I really enjoyed this, and it's been such a long time since I've looked at a Skyline set, and such a long time since I've looked at an architecture set, especially on this scale, because you know, the Pyramid of Giza was kind of on a different scale. The footprint on that thing is enormous, and I imagine the you know, the Himeji Castle is also a pretty big footprint. I just haven't built that yet. The Harry Potter one I referenced, which is sort of similar, is a pretty big footprint, and I imagine the Notre Dame set is going to have a big footprint. So these kind of small architecture builds really appeal to me. I would love to get my hands on some of the other ones that are long been retired, like some of the Frank Lloyd Wright houses and other things. I think I built the White House that I haven't featured on the channel here yet, and that's one that is a very big base. So working in this scale in the architecture line is not something I get to do that often. However, like I've mentioned, there are some moderately comparable things like those mini Disney castles and the postcards. I think those are kind of geared towards a different audience. This is, dare I say, a little more sophisticated, a little more advanced, and a little more classy looking. So people might have these displayed in an office or somewhere that one might not normally see Lego, and they might not expect to see like Ariel's castle or the Palace of Agrabah or something like that. So I really enjoyed this. This is super cool. Happy to add this to my collection of architecture and Skyline sets. Let me show the extra pieces. I've already showed a few of them. You do get a fair amount because there's a lot of 1x1s in here. You do get extras of all the tiny prints, which I maybe showed. So whoops, that one there. This one here, print, there, and then there's one more with the rainbow on it. All the different translucent things for the gradient in that kind of pillar and all the different buildings there. It's just all your 1x1s, your tiles, your plates, your slopes, your studs, all that good stuff. Good to get all of those. A little bit of a bar element here used too. One kind of Technic pin with the stud on the side, and those are all your extra pieces. Nothing too crazy, but still good to get. So that's very nice. And this set is 547 pieces, and I paid $60 for this set. $60 is what this set retailed for. It's now retired. I was very lucky to find this on a store shelf near me for its original retail price. I think there may be places online that this can be bought for close to retail. I think I saw other places, major retailers, selling it for up into the $100 range. So I certainly felt good getting this at retail. I would have loved a discount on it. I think the Paris and the London Skylines, I got a discount, but this seemed to be something that was maybe in the back room or hidden somewhere. It kind of was dusty, and they maybe just found it and put it on the shelf. There was no like price tag. And when I scanned it in the app for the place that I was buying this, it didn't come up, but when I scanned it at the checkout aisle, it turned right up. So very pleased with that. As far as value goes, you know, architecture sets I think generally come with a bit of a premium price here, similar to the helmet displays and the dioramas, and you know, 18 plus display sets tend to have a little bit of a premium price. And so I don't really mind that. I think this is on the upper end of the retail price for Skyline sets, although I haven't looked at, I think there's like a Shanghai one, and there's a few that I haven't looked at that are older. Like I said, there's a Las Vegas one, there's a San Francisco one, and there's probably a lot that I'm missing, and I don't know what those go for now. They've probably been out of production for quite some time, and I don't know what they retailed for. This for 2020 to 2022 for $60. You know, it's a lot of small pieces, a lot of light pieces, but no stickers, these big printed pieces, that's definitely worth something. So, and those are pretty much created just for this, and they're not all the same. There's 3 of one and then 3 of the other, and different stuff down here. You know, I felt like that was reasonable. It's not a great deal. I don't know if architecture sets ever really are what I would consider a good deal, and I didn't get it on sale, but I think I probably saved myself some money getting this rather than buying it in the aftermarket. And overall, I think this is really, really cool. And yeah, the price may be a little bit high, especially for the piece count, especially for the volume and the weight of everything here, and because there's just tons of tiny pieces, but it feels okay to me. And I don't know if this will go up in value now that it's been retired for a while, or keep going up, maybe in its built form or disassembled. It might, I maybe be able to sell it off for about what I paid in the future. I don't have any plans to do that. It's just something to consider. Generally, the value on this was meh. It was fine. It was about average. I don't have a terrible issue with it. It doesn't feel like horrendously overpriced. It feels kind of par for the course to me, so that is good. And I will grab the instruction manual so we can see that before I finish up here. And these are on the, you know, the all black kind of instruction manual here. And we do have, like a lot of architecture sets and some of the more collector type sets, have some like information, different things about the designers. We have pages for every kind of landmark that's represented in the Skyline in this Lego set. So we have the Tokyo Tower and a little bit of information about that, as well as a picture here. We have the mode Cocoon Tower there. I'm not going to pronounce that, and we can kind of see what we're emulating here. I think they did a brilliant job translating that to Lego. We have this park area here with the cherry blossoms, I believe. And then we have the Tokyo Sky Tree as well, with a ton of information and some quotes. We also have some stuff about the, oh, this was the park. This was the crossing area here, and you can see how lit up it is and how colorful it is and everything. And again, interesting scale compared to like the rest of the stuff that's in the set, because those are not that tall down here, but compared to the Sky Tree or the Cocoon Tower or the Tokyo Tower. And then we have this one over here, which again, I think they captured really, really well, the Tokyo Big Sight. And it's got 190-foot tall glass titanium conference tower shaped like an inverted pyramid. So that's really, really wild, and I always like seeing that stuff. This was all like printed on black pages. It does have some different stuff throughout the build process, like saying what it might be. And this one has, it takes almost 8,982 gallons or 34,000 liters of paint to cover this tower's surface of the red and white building there. So little tidbits like that always add a little bit to a set to me, so I definitely appreciate that. And overall, this was quite enjoyable, so very good. Happy to get it, happy to have built it. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up and give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the Lego videos I'll be doing here in the future, including more Lego architecture sets, probably. It seems like they're few and far between for me, but if people like them, I'll do it, or try to. But also tons of other Lego sets from all different themes, all different shapes, size, price point, piece count, old, new, retired, you know, pre-release occasionally, lots of different stuff. So subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming Lego videos. And if you want to support this channel and support my videos here, you can do that right here on YouTube with membership, supers, and thanks. And I have the Patreon. It's in the video description on my channel page, patreon.com/sobricks. That stuff helps me a lot. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's a huge milestone. I'm trying to plan something for that. If you guys have any ideas or desires, leave it in the comments below. I appreciate that. I have poly bags to give away to several people potentially, and I could maybe give away some other like bigger sealed sets that I have, or different GWPs and stuff like that. So I'll figure something out. Maybe we won't ever get there, so I don't want to get people's hopes up, but if I do, I'm gonna try to figure something out. So thank you very much, and with all that said, until next time, thanks, bye.